This is the Blaze Radio on demand.
In the next 19 seconds, you could sell your home. Okay, it's not going to sell your home, but you're going to take a big step toward getting it sold. Go to realestateagentsitrust.com and find an agent selected by my team, a professional who shares your values and speaks the truth. Sell your home fast and for the most money. Get moving at realestateagentsitrust.com.
The Buck Sexton Show.
I want to talk a little bit about I was mentioning before the bureaucracy and how I think the bureaucracy, people are realizing more and more that the bureaucracy has turned, right? If we're talking Walking Dead here, the bureaucracy is like, and like sort of standing up, and it's like mouth is all crazy and the teeth are out and it's going to try to bite and eat people. The bureaucracy has turned, or if it were a vampire, it has its fangs. Now you get where I'm going with this. It's now an organ of the Democratic Party. Overwhelmingly. It doesn't mean there aren't awesome patriots who work for the various federal agencies. Of course there are, many of them. But if you're looking at who runs these places and what the prevailing internal ethos is, as I've said to you, the bureaucracy is surprising in how nimble and effective and efficient it is when it comes to protecting itself. That's when all of a sudden it's sort of like if you look at some of the O linemen. I'm having a lot of fun with analogies here. If you look at like an O lineman in the NFL sitting down eating a sandwich, you'd be like, I could outrun that guy. And then if you actually had to run away from one on a football field, you'd be like, oh my gosh, they're so fast. It's terrifying. Bureaucracies are like that when they're defending themselves. They otherwise seem kind of lethargic and large and unable to move effectively or quickly. But when it comes to not even just self-preservation is not really the right term. Self-protection, right? Making sure their budgets and their size and their mission and all those sorts of things. They're very, very good at that. And so they have this collectivist mindset. Also, Democrats, as you know, are the party of government. They're much more fond of government as a solution to problems, and therefore you're just going to have, naturally, there will be more people on the Democratic side of the ledger who or who choose to work in government. This is also the case with the State Department. If you're going to study international relations, you're going to go through an indoctrination program at a lot of these schools that is going to tell you about American imperialism and colonialism, and these are bad things. And you're going to have a lot of foreign students in your classes who are so quick to lecture you on all the bad foreign policy decisions America makes and tell you about how horrible everything is. And you're never allowed to say anything about when it comes to their countries. I've had this experience, especially when I've studied abroad with a bunch of foreigners. Whenever you bring up their countries, it's always either America's fault still. And you're like, really? All the problems in Lebanon are our fault, guys? Really? I don't know about that. Or because you haven't lived there, you're not allowed to talk about it. That's the other one. It's like, really? I'm pretty sure North Korea is a bad place, even though can't say I've spent a lot of time there. That's true. So that's what you can say. But it's gotten worse in recent years. And you have the IRS targeting of the Tea Party, for which there's been really no accountability and nothing has changed. I know right now the House is thinking about impeaching Koskinen, who's the IRS chief. But that's, what's that? Is that really going to do anything? No. It means nothing, honestly. If we think this is accountability, we're fooling ourselves. And then you have the actions of the FBI recently. Look, we had Andy McCarthy on yesterday, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for Andy, both in terms of his integrity as well as his intellect. And he's a really good guy and has very deep experience in these matters. And we've had some back and forths, both sort of on and off air, about some of the very well-known prosecutorial figures out there on the scene. For example, I think Fitzgerald, who was involved in both the Scooter Libby prosecution as well as I think he also did Blagojevich, is a completely politicized hack looking for headlines and to settle political scores. And, Andy worked with him and says that he's has only good things to say about him. I can say that, even though we've only talked about this really off air. I don't think Andy would mind me saying that he only has good things to say about him. And Andy said yesterday on air that he only has good things to say about Comey. But you look at what's happened recently, and this is just completely. This is where I kind of wish I could throw some profanity into the show, but I won't. But just insert your choice profanity here. I mean, this is a total bad word. It's appalling what's happened here. I mean, that you've got Comey saying that they released this stuff right before the Labor Day holiday because they don't want it to seem politicized. And if they didn't release it on the Friday before Labor Day, then it would. It's like, no, you have that backwards. But that's how polluted and convoluted your thinking has become. That you don't understand that, no, it's the much better to do it the other way, where it doesn't look like you're covering for the Clintons, than to fall into this narrative, which you're hearing from people now of, oh, the Clintons, it's so hard what they have to deal with. Oh, it's terrible. I mean, Matt Lauer is getting heat for asking Hillary very obvious questions that he has to ask her about the email setup and all of this. Has to. And people are giving him heat. There's a Washington Post piece here. The Hillary Clinton email story is out of control, and they're claiming that she's had to clear additional hurdles, and the scrutiny's even higher, and the burden on her has been even more intense. These people are out of their friggin' minds. Burden is, who else gets to, the guy, people are saying, well, the destruction of evidence, yeah, there could have been a destruction of evidence charge, but there can't be if you give immunity to the person who destroyed the evidence. But they gave immunity to, usually you give immunity to someone, and they gave immunity to the guy who erased did the bleach bit and erased the stuff on the servers. Usually you give immunity to get somebody else. In this case, they just gave immunity. They didn't get anybody else. You could say, oh, well, Buck, they just needed the full story before they could know whether to bring charges. Any prosecutor will tell you they generally have a target of the investigation in mind, and immunity is a means of getting at that target. Hillary was never a target of the investigation in any meaningful sense. Do you trust the FBI now? Do you think that James Comey can be trusted to make non-politicized decisions? I don't. And Andy was here, and he likes Comey and says he's a career, public servant and everything else. And even he was like, look, I can't explain to you how this makes sense, because it just doesn't. It's not right what's going on. And the meeting with Loretta Lynch, with Bill Clinton, right before they announced charges, the fact that Comey has come out, came out rather, before Lynch, that's the investigatory arm of the DOJ. It's the actual DOJ, it's the Attorney General in this case, that would sign off on charges. We don't need to hear from, but Comey is, you see, he's above reproach, so he takes the heat, and then Loretta Lynch just gets to sort of finish it off with, no charges. If it was Loretta Lynch, it'd be too obvious. I mean, Loretta Lynch saying no charges is basically the equivalent of Barack Obama saying no charges in terms of role and importance in the Democratic Party and the politicization of all this. Right? There's not much difference or separation that you could see there from a political point of view. But with Comey, it's supposed to be, he's not the kind of guy who would do that. Yeah, he is. And he did. And that was unusual. That was an unusual step. Just like holding the stuff until right before Labor Day was an unusual. All these, you think these are coincidences? I think that the FBI director, I think other people in the FBI also know that their careers will be in Siberia, so to speak, if they don't play ball with the Clintons, and they're very convinced that she's going to win, which would be very interesting if she doesn't, by the way. There's going to be a lot of, I'll make you a prediction right now. If Hillary Clinton does not win, there are going to be a lot of missing emails from senior government officials, missing hard drives, maybe even a little bleach bit. We're going to get these little stories coming right around March of next year, I'd say. And they'll be, the communications between these different arms of the government, we can't find. We did a FOIA. We can't find it. Isn't that so weird? FBI communicating with DOJ about this. Yeah, no, can't. Nothing. That's so strange. Isn't it so weird? Yeah. It must be a big coincidence. The bureaucracy has been weaponized against dissent, and the dissenters are conservatives, the dissenters are constitutionalists. It's you, it's me. And that's where this is. We don't get the benefit of the doubt. In fact, any of us that get too uppity, any of us that cause a problem, will get squashed. They'll find a way. And they make examples of people. They make examples of people to send a very clear message to others. I am fond of bringing this up only because I got a lot of heat, even from some members of the team in the early days of this. I've been talking about this Bob McDonnell case for the, whatever it is, the almost, for the 2 years this has been dragging on. I've been saying this is ridiculous. This is unacceptable. That what he did is gross, but gross does not equal criminal. If gross equals criminal, Amy Schumer should be in prison. Gross does not equal criminal. That what he did, if you apply that to the Clinton Foundation, it's 1/1000th of what the Clinton Foundation was up to. And federal prosecutors have dropped all charges. So you have a former Republican governor who was at one point on the short list to be Romney's VP, or was it McCain's VP? I forget. And it was talked about as possible presidential material himself, who was facing 11 years in federal prison. They wanted to send his wife to prison for it. She's not even a public official. Federal prosecutors are going to imprison his wife? She has no official duty. If she has no official duties or obligations, how can she be guilty of corruption? Let's throw her in there too. 12 months in prison is no picnic. That's a pretty long time. 30 days? Okay. Most of us could probably handle that. Wouldn't be fun. 12 months? Felony charge? That's rough. That's rough. They wanted to send him. By the way, I don't think she should have spent a day in jail. I don't think she did anything illegal. I don't think she did anything wrong. Supreme Court sent this back. They vacated the conviction. Supreme Court smacked down these federal prosecutors. Do you think they're embarrassed, by the way? Do you think the federal prosecutors that brought this case, do you think that the federal judge that weighed this thing through, you think that at any level there's any sense of, wow, we abused our power. We violated the public trust. We broke our oath. No. It wasn't really about that. It's about let's get this Republican. It's clearly, entirely political. Add McDonnell to the list. I've told you this before. Look at the list. Prosecutors going after Republicans. Rick Perry, Chris Christie, Bob McDonnell, Senator Ted Stevens. Ruined his reputation. Hid exculpatory evidence in order to prosecute him. Federal prosecutors. These people should lose their licenses to practice law for this kind of stuff. Some of them should go to prison themselves for this kind of stuff. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And somebody of Comey's stature knows that he's going to get well taken care of for really selling out the FBI. That's what he's done. The FBI has been maligned as an institution now, or it's maligned itself. I mean, the FBI has been greatly damaged. Any high-profile case that involves anyone of public stature that comes before the Department of Justice right now falls under a big cloud of suspicion to anyone who's paying attention, and that's just disgraceful.
The Buck Sexton Show.
Hey, team, it's Buck. Have you tried a Casper mattress yet? They are incredible. They're obsessively engineered, and they come at a shockingly fair price for a mattress that brings together technology and comfort to also be a great value is just too much for any of you to pass up. It combines springy latex and supportive memory foams to create an award-winning sleep surface with just the right sink and the perfect bounce. Time magazine named it one of the best inventions of 2015. It is an award-winning mattress that absolutely will not disappoint. Try Casper for 100 nights risk-free in your own home. If you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you everything. Free shipping and returns to the U.S. and Canada. And for listeners of this show, you can get a special $50 toward any mattress by going to Casper.com/Buck, Casper.com/Buck, and using Buck